didn't think of myself as black when I was in Nigeria. So we identify on the basis of ethnicity and religion, but not race, because we don't need to. And when I went to the US, it was a very strange thing, because it's one thing to know intellectually that there's race in America, and I had seen Roots and that sort of thing. But it's quite another to sit in a class and the professor comes in and he has a pile of papers. It's the first essay we've written for the class. And he says, this is the best essay and I want to know who wrote it. And he calls my name. And I raised my hand, and on his face I saw surprise. And it was a very small, fleeting moment. But it was a moment where I realized that for him, it was surprising that a black person had written the best essay. America is a world in which black people don't do the best things. Black people are not expected to do the best things. And I remember finding it quite silly, because I'd come from Nigeria and I thought, surely he knows Nigerians are all brilliant.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren and I'm Maureen. So we have a very interesting episode today, and we're going to be listening to black people in America. Some of them are descendants from Africa and others are descendants from Caribbean. Right. So in today's episode, these are the type of people that normally say, I'm not black, I'm X. And because of how they explain their personal experiences, I feel like they deserve more grace. You know, in the past, we've done videos like this, and even we ourselves were blasting people who are choosing to not identify as black but identify as something else. But guys, let's watch this video and then we come back and talk about it. And at the end of it, you can also give us your personal views on what you think about this episode. We are very interested in hearing what you have to say about this. Right, if it's your first time here, kindly consider subscribing. Let's watch and then we come back and talk about it.
It took me 10 years to figure out I was black. When I was 8 years old, I moved to the United States. Before then, I had no concept of race. I had never even had a discussion about race because everybody around me looked like me. And as far as I was concerned, the whole world looked like me. So what was there to discuss? In fact, when I was born, I came out a little lighter than the village and the neighborhood was used to. And they told my mother to go get me tested to make sure that I wasn't being possessed by a demon. She didn't do that. So when she told me this story, I spent years fearing that I had actually been possessed by a demon this whole time. But that's another story for another time. Anyways, I'm in the United States. I'm learning English. I'm learning about the concept of race. I'm figuring out that really light-skinned little boy with the weird hair and the lips is actually not sick and dying. He's just white. I'm learning the names. I'm learning the labels. I'm figuring it out. But then something weird happened. As I learned the language and finally started understanding what the hell the people around me were saying, I realized that they kept referring to me as black. And I'm like, I'm not black, I'm Haitian. But I wasn't gonna tell them that because being Haitian in the early 2000s was not fun. And I was trying to assimilate. I was trying to get away from the bullying. I was trying to get away from the stereotypes. So I never corrected them. I never agreed because I didn't want to get caught lying, but I never corrected them. So then I'm like, okay, as long as I don't say anything, everything's fine. So as a result, I spent the next 10 years living in fear. Living in absolute fear that one day somebody was gonna figure out that I had been lying this whole time, that I was in fact not black but Haitian, that like and I'd have to I'd be shunned by the whole entire school. I would lose my reputation, non-existent as it was. I'd have to apologize at the end of the year. People would pull their trays away from me when I was walking by. They'd stop conversing and turn around and give me their backs when I was walking down the hall. I watched a lot of Disney movies, I don't know if you can tell, but I was afraid, right? And then one day, the worst happens. I'm talking to one of my good friends, and I admit to the fact that I'm Haitian. I let it slip. My deep, dark secret was now out in the open. And she just looks at me and goes, cool. That's kind of cool. And asking me questions. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh my God, she's such a good friend. She's willing to keep this secret for me. She's willing to carry this to her grave. She is willing to, if the worst ever happens, stand next to me on that stage as I apologize at the end of the year. But no, I had gotten it wrong. The next day, she sees me down the hall, screaming at the top of her lungs. She goes, hey, my Haitian queen. Why would you do this to me? Why would you do this to me? We'll call her Sarah. Why would you do this to me, Sarah? Why would you betray me? Does our super hula connection mean nothing to you? Our ships have been sailing the same tumbler waters for years. Why would you betray me? But I said all of this with my eyes, and I could tell she didn't understand because she just kept on waving. Long story short, I never trusted her with another secret. Fast forward after that traumatizing set of 4 years. Fast forward, I'm in college, and I decide, you know what? I'm gonna get right. I can't live like this. I can't keep living in fear. So my new, fresh, brand new set of friends, I went to school out of state. So there was no connections, no chance of someone from my high school being in my college. So I felt like I had a brand new start and that I could finally be myself. So I sat them down, I let them know, hey, I'm Haitian. And they're like, okay, like, that's cool. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, we're on the same page. They get it now. Like, I'm not Black, I'm Haitian. I don't have to pretend to know all the references. I don't have to pretend to have grown up with all of like the 90s cartoons and the early 2000s cartoons. Cause I just got here. I got here in 2003. Like I didn't know. And then I had to spend years learning English. So all I knew was Dragon Tales and Arthur, you know? So then I was like, okay, cool. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to lie. This is a fresh, brand new start. So one day, I'm at the cafeteria, like, and I overhear a conversation. And it's this girl talking about how she's tired of people using Black and African American interchangeably. My ears perk up. Because as far as my ESOL teacher was telling me, as far as I knew, y'all were the same. Black, African American, same damn thing. But she goes on to explain the difference between race and nationality and how she's so damn tired of people thinking that these things are the same thing and equating African American with Black. That was the moment I realized that I had been lied to, I had been fooled, I had been bamboozled, and actually I was Black this whole damn time. When I tell you I felt betrayed, when I tell you I felt mad, I wasted years, tiptoeing, pretending, years. And it was all for nothing. 10 years. 10 years. So now whenever I see like a popular celebrity or like someone in the public eye, whenever I see them like deny the fact that they're Black and they're just like, I'm not Black, I'm X, insert their nationality. Like some part of me is like, should I go in the comment section? Should I defend them? Should I like try to explain what they might have meant? And it's always, the answer is always no, because I did my time. 10 years of it.
In Orange County, I literally didn't know I was Black until...
So I saw her video because Shaquille, that guy who was sitting in his car doing videos, clipped her video. And I went to go look at it myself because my first thought was, oh, she probably has immigrant parents. So I went to her profile and clicked on her Instagram, and in the bio, there's a Ugandan flag. It totally makes sense. When you come from a Black majority country and you immigrate to the United States and you have American racial hierarchy thrown on you because you are perceived as Black, people contend with that in very different ways. We often take for granted how we have come into our understanding of race as African Americans. And, you know, when you have a mix of experiences, like I remember coming home from first grade with a school menu and informing my father that, look, macaroni and cheese is in fact an entree. You can let me just eat macaroni and cheese for dinner. And my daddy said in his Black household, as African Americans, macaroni and cheese will always be a side dish. We don't eat like the whites, okay? I have more joyful memories about coming into my Blackness. When someone comes and immigrates, which is already a very violent process, and then is experiencing the violence of race, they might just disassociate. And so much of how you understand race comes down to the household you're raised in, who your parents are. So I think a little bit of grace, actually a lot of grace can be given to that young lady because desirability politics is eating y'all up in the comment sections. Y'all are being outright bigoted towards her. It's some nasty work going on in the names y'all are calling that young lady and the way you are talking to her because of your anti-Blackness and the way you perceive her. But it is not unrealistic, regardless of a person's phenotype, when they come from a family that has immigrated here and has decided to raise them in a particular community and distance themselves from, that they would not realize that they are Black and what that actually means until later in life.
Like, I never knew I was Black till I moved to New Zealand. Like, I knew my skin was Black, but I never knew it was like a problem because I never really experienced racism in Nigeria. And then yeah, it's part of my story, so, you know, I have to tell it, you know, and not just for me, for like the up and coming guys, like
You didn't know you were black. That's a phrase that caught
yeah,
me.
because I knew my skin was dark, but I didn't know it was a problem until like you're walking home and kids on the bus start insulting you, you know, making monkey noises and shit like that. You're like, do I even know these kids? I haven't told of a famous story I've told before is of a kid who kept on riding by my house on the weekend. You know, going back to your country, Blackanese. And I was just like, I've seen this kid at school, but I don't know him. He don't know me enough to have a problem with me. And then the next Monday, we had a little scrap, and he realized not to fuck with me after that. I wasn't a fighter then.
Right.
But I just got mad, because after lunchtime, he just comes up to me, what's up, black boy? Boom, and pushed me. And I remember I was already having a bad day, so I got up crying, and I just whooped his ass. Yeah, so shit like that still happens, but, you know, it's part of life now, and you just get tougher skin.
So welcome back, guys. Let us know what you think about this episode in the comment section. So let's talk about the first speaker, the female, right? And she's a very famous author with Nigerian roots, right? And she was talking about how she always knew about the construct of race, but had never personally experienced it. So I do believe knowing and experiencing are two different things, yeah? So when she went to America for the first time and then started feeling it, you know, and she described her situation, which I feel like she was quite well spoken, and she helped us understand the scenario, right? And I do believe a lot of Africans go through this. They really do not know the extent of how serious things to do with race, especially skin color, how serious it is in America, and how it matters, or it's important to especially white Americans, for the hierarchy to be maintained. Right. And you know, she mentioned something very, very interesting. She said that when she was in school, that particular white teacher who made her realize the extent of racism, she said that he looked at her in a manner to suggest he didn't expect her to be that clever. Yeah, a black person to have written the best essay in the class. Of which, you know, I feel like this is when white people underestimate black people like this, this is going to be our silent weapon, you know. Right. Because guys, I don't know if we don't need to scream it, and we don't need to show it, but we know out loud. Just knowing is enough. And you know, I think black people can, you know, go out of their way to work hard than white people, because it is what is required of them in the American society. Right. For them to work twice as hard to get opportunities that white Americans enjoy. Right. This reminds me of a scenario where the famous actress Taraji P was talking about. For black females in the industry, they have to work 10 times as hard as their white female counterparts to even get paid the same. You understand? Right. So you can imagine, what does this do over time? It makes black people, I feel, more excellent, only that a system and a society suppresses them to not look. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, to not look at how their capability is wired with them. And you know, guys, I don't think most of you know this, especially Americans. Only people in Africa can know this, especially Kenyans. I don't know if other African countries have it. In Kenya, we use this app called Upwork. It's everywhere, of course, but mainly Kenyans in slums use this app to do homework for kids in America. In America and Britain. You guys get that? Kids who come from the slums, in order to earn money to eat. That's how they earn a living. That is how they earn a living. They use Upwork to do homework for kids in America and Britain. Right. So guys, let us know about that. Another thing the lady mentioned was black people were never expected to be associated with anything good. And this brings me back to the point of how many times did we have black inventors in history who got discredited because a white person took their invention and made it appear as if they're the ones who had invented that invention, and they were given credit, and further on they were praised for coming up with the same invention a black person invented. Right. Another thing, let's go to the second lady, the lady from Haiti, who was talking about for 10 years she lived like a prisoner. And guys, some people might not be able to understand the magnitude of this, but I feel like I do understand this lady. You know why? Ours is not the same experience, but we also, growing up, never realized we were twins. We didn't even know what the word twin meant. When people would call us in the streets twins, we'd be like, that's
What
not
is that?
What's
So for
that?
the longest time when we were young,
Yeah.
we tried disassociating ourselves with that identity,
word.
with that
we
word.
wanted people to call us by our names
own
because
names.
we didn't understand we were twins, And we normally, this sounds so funny, but we normally tell people the moment we realized we were twins was in
high school, like way later in high school. That is when we realized we were
like
twins.
then
Like
we are twins.
what twins was.
What twins was, the privilege that came with being twins, and what it actually meant to live your life as a twin. We came to realize it in high school, and I know somebody might laugh and tell themselves like, how could you not know? I guess the brain of a child, the way it processes things, I guess it gets to a level where you still think like a kid and you don't associate with that identity of which the person you are until you get to a place where you can really now start internalizing the identity.
Yeah, you can now walk into the identity of who or what you are,
Right.
And as for this Haitian, as she was saying, I mean, I can't imagine her life because,
that sounds sad.
I think her not wanting to tell people she was Haitian, she wanted to fit in so that she couldn't be bullied. She wanted to fit in. That's why she was walking. Yes, she's black, but it hadn't clicked because where she's coming from, black is not the first thing they see.
Yeah.
They see either religion or the nationality.
Right. Like here in Kenya, people identify themselves either through ethnicity or either through religion. Like for us, like in Kenya, you're just able to know. We have 48 tribes, right? So you're able to know this is Somali. You're able to know this is Kikuyu. You're able to know this is Luo,
Kamba,
and that is how people That is how people identify, not through race. And if not that, you're able to identify yourself through religion. I'm a Christian. I'm an
You're a
SDA.
Muslim. Yeah.
You're a Muslim.
So I think it's in predominantly black countries. I think now I'm coming to understand this because
and what's the problem amongst
the immigrants and black Americans.
Right. So black Americans,
because black Americans,
they take it as an offense.
You take it as an offense, but I feel like at this point we should try and understand both sides,
treat them with grace,
with a bit more of grace, because you guys have grown in the system where the palm colored people, they insist on maintaining the racial hierarchy, and immigrants, they come into already this situation without knowing that the racial hierarchy is so important for some people, for everything
jobs,
they do, jobs, everything, Us here, how we grow, the hierarchy we grow with, I don't think there is a hierarchy.
Maybe say the rich and poor.
Maybe just for the being people who are rich or
even
poor.
Ethnicity also affects if you get a job,
especially here in Kenya and Africa. Ethnicity really, I think that is the hierarchy here. I think so. If you come from a certain tribe, you're most likely to get more jobs than another tribe. Some tribes are considered low, others are that is the kind of thing that affects Africa.
Yeah. So guys, let us know what you think about this on the comment section. I feel like this was a nice talk we had, and I feel like it's about time we start talking about these things constantly, so that we can all
give each other the grace each other needs,
and we can all understand each other. Because I also do when I look at it from the point of view of a black American. So imagine you're seeing a fellow
totally black like charcoal black person in front of you
and say, I'm not black, you're trying to tell them, you're black, and like I'm not black, I do feel like why you take the offense on your side, and I do feel like because to you maybe
you feel like
these
other black communities, they're trying to associate their identity with yours, because maybe I feel like when black people, the immigrants, that is when they do this, it's not per se it's not to disassociate from the black Americans, but it is for them to keep their national pride, their nationality. It's what reminds them they still are connected to home.
Right. But guys, let us know what you think about this video in the comment section. And we want to thank you as usual for catching our episode. Let's catch you on the next. Remember to subscribe if it's your first time here, and also turn on the notification button so that you can know when we are posting our new episodes, right? So let's catch you on our next.